Awesome.
ESP,
So we're rolling.
You fucking ready for this?
Pat Heath here for ESP, and we are with John Campbell from the metal deity, which is Lamb of God.
How you doing, man? Thank you for taking the time to say hi to me. And Josh, and Alex, and Gary, and Steph.
Everybody's here, the whole gang.
Except for me, I don't know.
How's it been going? You okay? How's the playing?
Oh, it's great, man. It's fantastic. We're finally back at it, back here for some festivals in Europe, and it's amazing. I'm very happy and excited to be here.
Cool. And a couple of new tracks online, I noticed.
Oh yeah, we have a record coming out in October, and there's two tracks we've released so far that are doing really well, and I think we may play a couple of those tonight.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk to you about your instrument, your association with ESP, and the bass which you have with you, the JC-4. So can you tell us about that, how it came about?
Absolutely. The JC-4 came about when I was checking out the ESP Stream, which I just loved the shape of and the balance and how it felt. And so we took that and just kind of tweaked it a tiny little bit, put some Fishman in there, and that's the JC-4. And in the LTD, it makes for a more affordable version that I play the LTD on stage. I absolutely love it. It's comfortable, sounds amazing. And it's a great bass.
Excellent. So with that in mind, going forward from the bass, what's your typical live setup bass rig wise? Is there anything particular that you have for this?
There's things that are, I'm in flux right now, but generally speaking, you know, I'll run, I'm on ears on stage, and then generally that would come off a mic on a cabinet that's being pushed by a Mesa cab being pushed by a Mesa head. And it's, you know, maybe a little preamp in there to put a little growl onto it. But it's fairly simple. You keep it simple so there's less things to mess up. I don't like hitting pedals and doing all that stuff. I like just hitting it and go.
Awesome. So I think the viewers will be interested to know, when you're approaching a show like this, obviously we've got a big stage, very warm, and you know, plenty of space, plenty of people. How do you approach preparing for a show like this in terms of your performance?
All my life I've been preparing for this moment. I'm so lucky to be able to do this professionally. And this is like kind of the top, it's close to the top of the game. It's amazing. A festival crowd is great. These stages are huge, so there's lots of room to move around, as opposed to having to like look out for bumping into people. And it's amazing. It's to get ready for that, to prepare for that. What do I do? You know, I'll warm up before we go on, but it's like any other show where we're going out there to just crush, destroy, be the best band that played that stage.
Anything warm-ups wise that you like to do before you play?
Absolutely. Like about an hour before we start playing, I want to be sitting with my bass and doing a couple little chromatic runs just to warm up the fingers, and then any songs that we haven't played in a while that are going to be in the set, start playing those. Or any riffs that are difficult, just like play those slow and just, you know, for roughly an hour or so beforehand, start doing that, and then change into the work clothes and go up and destroy.
So what about general practice when you're at home, when you're in your own space in your own time rather than performing live? What's your practice routine?
I would say it depends on what we have coming up. For instance, we did during the pandemic, we did a live stream where we played a record from start. We played records from start to finish, which we had never done. So when that was going on, I would take care of my family responsibilities and then go sit by myself with headphones and play along to the stuff, just for as much time as I could devote that day. But I'm pretty much every day, regardless of what's coming up, picking up a stringed instrument of some sort and making noise, even if just for a moment. I've got these things sitting all over my house, and I love making noise.
So in terms of actually creating music, how far are you involved in the writing process, and what do you do about creating interesting musical parts?
Mark and Willie are the primary songwriters, and they'll bring in stuff for us to then kind of pick apart and put our 2 cents into. And it really depends on the song, the part, what all is called for in the part. There's a song on the new record that is, we came in with like very loose what it was going to be, and everyone very much provided what they were going to do with. I feel like I'm trying to talk around what the song is because I don't know how many secrets I can give away yet. But there's a few moments on the song where it's like we really approached it in a very open, like everyone was throwing in parts. And that was fun, but Mark and Willie are fantastic songwriters and riff monsters.
So thinking about what it is where you put your bass together, what would you say to people who are watching this if they were to choose an instrument? What sort of things would you need to look for in terms of like buying maybe your first instrument or spending some good money?
Just general sense.
Yeah, or I mean bass players primarily, but I could apply any useful advice that you could impart.
Fair enough. I would say have it be something that you can afford, that is going to play okay, that you are going to have near you and able to get to, because it takes time. You have to, just on a very basic level, develop the muscles and the calluses, but then you also need time to like make little melodies up and just play around with it. Like I was saying earlier, I've got stringed instruments around my house, like different size ukuleles, banjos, guitars, acoustic basses, and all day long I pick them up and just play for a little bit. Like with my morning coffee, I got 10 minutes to sip coffee and maybe play some ZZ Top on an acoustic bass. I would say find an instrument that you can have on hand and pick up and play, and something, just be ready to suck, because you're going to, but it's fun, man. If you're called to it, if it catches your attention, you'll do all right by yourself, even if it's not your job.
So with that in mind, just thinking about influence a little bit, I'm aware that you've got things to do before your set, but thinking about influences and where you've come from as a musician, if you had to choose a bass part from history, from one of your influences, if you had to choose one that you could have written, could you pinpoint a couple for us?
I could not. I can tell you that I came up listening to punk rock at a time when punk rock and heavy metal were almost at odds with each other, and I was alive through the crossover and everything coming. But I came from the school of a motive performance. So you are, that the energy that you're putting forth is as important as the music that you're making. And in the extreme punk rock, that's more important than the music you're making. But that's where I come into this from, and then I'm playing with people that are very exacting musicians with, coming from the other side of heavy metal. So I blend those two together as best I can and those are my influences, coming from the punk rock and then the dudes that I'm in a band with.
And then just to finish up, thinking about your history performing wise, is there anything that you could say is a really particularly scary or memorable moment with regards to playing live or playing the bass, or something that's happened to you that you could share with us?
Oh man, you're looking for a very specific moment, but what first comes to mind when you say like memorable? Nothing scary. There've been scary things, but not related to the music. Touring with Metallica is the greatest thing on the earth. They are phenomenal people at the top of their game. And it's a pleasure to go play sold out stadiums with these guys, which has been far too long, guys. Not that that's going to help, but that's probably one of the most memorable experiences I have is when many years ago we were able to do some dates with Metallica. It was so great.
And just anything going forward that you want to share with us about Lamb of God that's exciting?
Well, what's exciting is our new record we have coming out in October. I always love our latest and greatest, and it sounds cliche to say it as the band guy, it's the best thing we've done, but I honestly feel like every record, like we are pushing ourselves to do better than the last one. Again, that sounds cliche as shit, but this is the real fucking deal here, and I think our catalog speaks to that.
That's amazing. John, thank you. John and the JC-4, thank you very much.
Yeah.
ESP.
Thank you, ESP. Next time, put my picture up there.